So in the last topic we discussed till here. Now today we are going to start from here. Fiscal policy tools and implementation. See, we have already seen about fiscal policies, nothing but increase and decrease of taxes. When government wants to increase taxes and when government wants to decrease taxes. Government increases taxes with the motive, and government also decreases the taxes with the motive. Tax they increase when the economy is like burning, in the sense economy is going like very high, the inflation is very high. To reduce all that, government has to control the demand. So the demand can be reduced through increasing the taxes. That means to control inflation, they'll do that. And during recessionary times, when the things are on standstill, nothing is moving in the economy, the government will reduce the taxes. Okay, so the government will increase the taxes when there is high inflation. Government will decrease the taxes when there is recession. So with decrease in taxes, people can save more, disposable income will increase and they can spend. Okay, and that will increase the demand. So describe tools of fiscal policy, including their advantages and disadvantages. Fiscal policy tools include spending and revenue. See, spending is nothing but government spending, and revenue is nothing but revenue source for the government. Spending tools, transfer payments. Already we have discussed. Government, has a lot of programs. They run a lot of programs. They redistribute the wealth. They take the money from the rich and they spend it on poor, taxing some and making payments to others. Examples include government run retirement income plans, such as Social Security in US and the unemployment insurance benefits. Transfer payments are not included in GDP computations. Okay, because it has nothing to do with GDP. There's no product. We are not. There is nothing that government is getting from any production or any services. And what is current spending? See, government will have certain expenses on routine basis to spend, like we also have, right, to run our affairs. So refers to government purchases of goods and services on an ongoing and routine basis. Government has to provide a lot of things to the economy. So they may also purchase goods and services. Spending, that's it, spending. So to create demand. Capital spending on infrastructure projects, boost the infrastructure in the country, so that can also increase the demand, like making bridges, hospitals, roads, infrastructure. Spending tools are commonly justified as, just a second. So that will increase the demand in the economy, and spending tools are commonly justified as means of pursuing the following goals: provide services such as national defense and benefits all the residents in a country, invest in infrastructure to enhance economic growth, support countries' growth, unemployment targets by directly affecting aggregate demand. So if they try to increase the demand, unemployment problem can be solved. Why? Because with more demand, more companies would come up and start production, right? So that will reduce the unemployment problem. Provide a minimum standard of living to people and subsidize investment in R&D for certain high risk ventures consistent with government future economic growth or other goals. Example, green technology. So if someone is interested to go for solar power or green technology, government will give some subsidy to promote that sector. Revenue tools, government gets the money from taxes, direct taxes, income and wealth tax, and indirect taxes like VATs, GST, etc. So they will be charging more on all this. Alcohol, tobacco, gambling, and all these things, these all are not good, but government will charge more on them. Okay. And desirable attributes of tax policy. The tax policy should be simple, efficient, very fair, not like, something which is, like people think that it is biased, not for commoners, or the taxes are favoring the companies, etc. No, it should be, fair. So fairness is quite subjective. So it's a subjective topic, of course, because many people will think that something fair for others is not fair for them. But two of the commonly held beliefs are horizontal equality. People in similar situations should pay similar taxes. Yes, rich people who are having luxury goods and who own luxury can pay higher taxes. And vertical equality, richer people should pay more in taxes. See, middle class people should pay similar taxes, richer people should pay more taxes. That is what is that seems to be more justified. Sufficiency is in that taxes should generate enough revenues to meet the spending needs of the government. So sufficient money the government should get. Advantages of fiscal policy tools include social policies. See, they want to discourage tobacco, so that's the reason why they increase more taxes on them. But still, we are not seeing people stopping the consumption. Quick implementation of indirect taxes also means government revenues can be increased without significant additional costs. So once the indirect taxes are levied, the government will start getting more revenues. Okay, and they need not spend extra also for that. Disadvantage of fiscal policy tools include direct taxes and transfer payments take time to implement. Yes. Delaying the impact of fiscal policy. See, government wants money immediately, but if these are taking time to implement, then the period between the framing of the policy and the implementation of the policy should not be the duration should not be more, or else government will lose money, revenue, tax revenues. Okay. And capital spending also takes a long time to implement. And yeah, so it's a very big budget investment government is going to make. It takes time to reap good results. Economy may have record by time its impact is felt. Announcing a change in fiscal policy. So like we will now understand some points here. Announcing a change in fiscal policy may have significant effects on expectations. Yes, if the taxes are increasing, if the taxes are going to increase in future, people will save more today. If the taxes are going to decrease in the future, people will start spending today, start investing. Okay, like in the sense, we'll look not today, we'll look to invest in the future. Okay. So people always want to take advantage of the situation where the tax is decreasing, and when the tax is increasing, it will, make people it will kind of disturb people's spending patterns. So that's what they said. Announcement of a future increase in taxes may immediately reduce current consumption. Why? Because in future taxes are going to increase, so people start to save more today. Okay, see what happens for an announcement of future increase in taxes. In future, the taxes are going to increase, reduce current consumption, rapidly producing the desired goal of reducing aggregate demand. So if at all we come to know that in future the taxes are going to increase. Okay, so if the taxes are going to increase, you'll start buying something today, but you'll try to tend to save more also, because in future you may have less disposable income or less savings. So if you save more today, in future you can utilize that money for your spendings, correct, or your investments. Let's say tax is going to increase in future, so today you buy whatever you want to buy. You don't go for overbuying. Okay, So see, like people's tendency is if the taxes are going to increase in the future, they will try to buy or purchase today and pay less taxes. But in future, as they come to know that taxes are going to increase, so they start saving more, because in future the taxes are going to increase and their spendings are going to become more. More, their spendings are going to be like in such a way that they are going to save less in the future. So if they start saving today, their savings will increase. That's what. Let's say today the tax is 2 rupees. So for every 100 rupees spent, 98 rupees is what? For every 100 rupees, whatever you want to spend, 98 you are paying and 2 rupees is going for taxes. Okay. So or else 100 rupees you earn and you spend some money out of it. Okay. Or let's say the taxes are levied on you. So 2 rupees is the taxes government levying on you. So you are saving 98 rupees. Okay. So today you have less amount to, spend. But in future, when the tax are going to be 5 rupees, you will be having only 95 rupees to spend in the future. So what you can do from today itself, you can start saving your money so that in the future you will be having less disposable income, right? If you are saving more today, that saving can be utilized in the future for your spendings. So as you understand that in future your savings are going to be less, you start saving today. Okay, because your disposable income is going to decrease in the future. That's what they're saying. Announcement of future increase in taxes may immediately reduce current consumption. Okay, because today you start saving more, because in future you have to pay more taxes. So you want more savings today because the disposable income in future is going to decrease. And so they are able to reduce the demand inflation. Not all fiscal policy tools affect economic activity equally. Spending tools are most effective in increasing aggregate demand. Okay. So when government spends money, that is going to increase the demand. Tax reductions are somewhat less effective, as people may not spend the entire amount of the tax savings. Out of that also some fraction of money they will be spending. Tax reductions for those with low incomes will be more effective in increasing aggregate demand, as those with lower incomes tend to spend a larger proportion of income on consumption, because more people are there with low incomes, not with high incomes. That is they save a smaller portion of income and have higher marginal propensity to consume. So what is this marginal propensity to consume? We will discuss right now and we'll understand. Just a second. So what's the difference? What is the definition of this? Delta C by delta Y. That means we can understand this as the ratio of change in consumption to change in income. Change in consumption with respect to change in income. Okay. So let's say a person receives an additional 1,000 rupees as income or dollars as income. Okay. Person is receiving additional $1,000 as income and they spend $800 out of it and they are saving $200. So marginal propensity to consume is 0.8 and marginal propensity to save is 0.20. Okay. So marginal propensity to consume is 0.80. That is change in income is $1,000. Change in consumption is $800. So marginal propensity to consume is 80 and marginal propensity to save is 20. What does it mean? Okay, what is the meaning of this marginal propensity to consume? For every $1 increase in the income, 80 cents of extra spending can be done. That means for every $1, for every one additional dollar earned, the person spends 80 cents. Okay, so I'll write down for every additional $1 earned, the person spends 80 cents and saves 20 cents. That means if your income, if at all your income is increasing by extra $1, you will be spending 80 cents from that and saving 20 cents. That's it. That is marginal propensity to consume. Once have a look through this. If you want to make a note, you can make. We'll move forward. They may ask some questions in the exam. If I tell you what is the meaning of marginal propensity to consume, if it is 1, that means for one additional dollar earned, all one, okay, previously it was 80 cents. So for $1 earned, the person spends 80 cents. For $1 earned, the person spends all $1. Okay, for $1 earned, all $1 is spent. And if marginal propensity to consume is 0, for $1 earned extra, or if $1, if the income is increasing by $1, you are spending nothing. All is saved. Nothing is spent. Okay, right on. The meanings are very clear now. Now, see, I will explain this fiscal multiplier in a simple way. What is this fiscal multiplier? See, suppose government spends additional 1,000 crore dollars on infrastructure projects. Government spends government an additional 1,000 crore dollars on infrastructure projects. See, government's spending is going to increase the GDP. Am I right? Yes. That is going to increase the demand, and that in turn will increase the GDP. So government's such big spending will definitely increase the GDP. So if I tell you that $1,000 crore spent additionally by the government on infrastructure projects, okay, and this increases the GDP by 2,500 crore dollars. What does it mean? So it means change in GDP is 2,500 crore dollars and change in government spending is 1,000 crore dollars. So if government is increasing, I will just give the interpretation. Okay. For every $1 of government spending, okay, for every $1 of government spending, the GDP is increasing by $2.50. So 2.5 times we can say the multiplier. Okay. So here the fiscal multiplier will be 2.5. Okay. So I can tell you that change in GDP with respect to change in government spending. So I got it 2.5 here. Okay. Please make a note of this. Okay. So let's understand this concept here. See, changes in government spending have magnified effects on aggregate demand because those whose incomes increase from increased government spending will in turn increase their spending. Yes, if the GDP is growing, the people will earn more and they'll spend more. Okay, because the demand is increasing now. Okay, so the magnitude of multiplier effect depends on tax rate and on marginal propensity to consume. Yes, if the tax rate is decreasing, people will save more, and if they save more, they spend more. Okay, and marginal propensity I have explained you right now. If the income is increasing, your whatever you spend will also increase. So we have seen with $1 increase in income, the consumer is spending 80 cents out of that. Of course, it is understood that everyone wants to save, so they will not spend the entire money. Some money is saved, but they'll spend. Okay. So to understand the calculation of multiplier, see, I have explained you in an easy way. What they are giving here is, let's understand. To understand the calculation of multiplier effect, consider an increase in government spending. Government wants to increase its spending by $100. Marginal propensity to consume is 80%. That means 80 out of this $80 you'll spend, $20 you'll save, and the tax rate is 25%. So increase in spending increases incomes by the increase in spending. See, government spending is increasing, right? So it will increase the incomes by $100. Okay, but $25 of that will be paid in taxes. So what they are saying is, to understand the calculation of multiplier effect, consider an increase in government spending of $100. Government wants to spend $100 into the economy. They want to increase their spending to whatever they are spending. From that, like to that, they want to add this extra $100 of spending. Okay, Marginal propensity to consume is 80. That means 80 would be saved and 80 would be spent and 20 would be saved. 80 spent, 20 saved. Tax rate is 25%. The increase in spending increases income by $100. See, government is increasing the spending right by $100. So income will also increase by $100. Okay, that is like, that's what the example says. But if income is increasing by $100, 25% goes for taxes. Okay, and the disposable income is how much left over with them? $75. So disposable income is equal to income after taxes. So disposable income also increases by $75. Of course, see, government spending is increasing by $100. Income is increasing by $100. Okay, and out of that 25 is paid as taxes. So 75% of $75 of disposable income is increasing. And if at all the marginal propensity to consume is 80%, that means with additional after tax income left over with you of $75, $60 you'll spend. That is 80% of that. Okay, because everyone understands that 20% will be saved. So with increase in government spending, the GDP will grow. Okay, or the incomes will grow. And if the incomes will grow, okay, out of that some amount will go for taxes, and after tax income with them is $75 and they'll spend 80% of that. So income is growing, spending is increasing. Whose spending is increasing? The customers or citizens spending is increasing. Okay, so again I'll explain this. So government increased its expenditure by $100. Income has increased by $100. Taxes paid. So disposable income is $75. Out of that, 80% is expended. That means spent, or they are purchasing something out of it. So $60 they spend and $15 maybe they save. Now, the additional spending will increase others incomes by 60. That's what, if you are spending $60 extra, that will go to someone else. That will increase their incomes by 60, and the disposable incomes by $60 into 0.75, that is $45. That means after tax income has now come to $45. That is disposable income, from which they will spend again 80%. So $36 again they are spending. Okay. So what they cooked out of it, see. Now, we will see the example. $100 government has spent. Okay, income has increased by $100. 80% out of that will go for spending. Okay, and tax rate they have given us 25%, but we will apply the marginal propensity to consume after we calculate the disposable income. So out of this $100 increase in income, $25 go for taxes, $75 is the leftover income, disposable income. Out of that, 60 is spent. This 60 spent will increase income for others, but the disposable income is 45. Out of that, again they'll spend 36. Okay. Okay. 80% of that they'll spend. Why? Because marginal rate of marginal propensity of consumption is 80% given to you. Okay. So we will open one more page and do this neatly. So government has, spent $100. Okay, government spending. And, incomes have increased by $100. 80 marginal propensity to consume is 80. Out of that, out of this, 25 has gone for taxes. Disposable income is 75. Out of that, 80% spent. Okay, and this 80% spend is $60. Okay, Spending has increased, income has increased. Okay. Spending has increased. Okay. This whatever you have spent becomes income for someone else. So income for someone else, $60. Okay. Out of that, we will remove the taxes. So we'll take 75% of this. 45 is the disposable income. Out of that, 80% is spent. So 36 is spent. Okay. Now this will be again going on. Again, 36 is spent, right? Now what happens? As you started with like 100, you remove the taxes. The after tax income with you is 75 and you spend 80% of that. Again, you will remove taxes from this. Whatever is left over, this is the disposable income. Out of that, 80% will be spent. Or we'll take the 80% of this. Okay. So we it was 60 and we just took the disposable income. This is the disposable income. Of that 80% will be spent. Okay. So 80% would be spent. So 21.6 would be spent. Okay. This much will be spent. Like 36 was spent. So for additional increase in government spending, the incomes are increasing and also the spendings are increasing. Okay, we'll move forward. Now, fiscal multiplier formula is given to you. As you know, fiscal multiplier is nothing but with $1 additional spending by the government, the GDP is increasing by how many dollars? Okay, so we'll understand here with the tax rate of 25% and marginal propensity to consume 80%. We'll put that here. We'll get the fiscal multiplier as 2.5. That means for every $100 increase in government spending, the aggregate demand will increase by $250. That means if government is spending $100 into the economy, the GDP will increase by $250. That means for $1 spending by government, $2.5 increment in the GDP or aggregate demand. Okay, just go to this, please. See once again, last point, fiscal multiplier is inversely related to the tax rate. If the tax rate increases, let's say it is going from 25 to 30%, your fiscal multiplier will decrease because more taxes, less savings, the demand will decrease. Opposite side will go. Okay. Please, all of you go through this once. Very important concept. Next concept is balance budget multiplier. See what government does. To balance the budget. So government, government have to spend money into the economy. For that, they have to raise the taxes. Okay, they have to, they will be spending the money into the economy only if they receive taxes. Okay, so what is happening here? Government is trying to balance the budget. How is government trying to balance the budget? Government could increase taxes by $100 to just offset a $100 increase in spending. That means if government has to spend extra $100 into the economy, okay, if government's spending is increasing by $100, government will increase the taxes by $100. So if the spending is increasing by $100, taxes are increased by $100 just to offset. That means there is no surplus and deficit in the budget. Okay, that means it's not like government is, having some surplus money. Okay, in the sense government has got some $150 in taxes and they spend 150 they are saving. Not. Government has just got $50 in taxes and they have to spend 100. No, no surplus, no deficit. It is a balanced budget. Okay. So, we see this balanced budget multiplier as 1 many a times. Okay, because 1 shows the balance. Now, many a times the balanced budget multiplier will be equal to 1, but at times it can also be less than 1. So I'll give you a small example to understand the concept. Okay, let's understand. One small scenario we'll take up. Government increases the spending by $1,000 and it also increases the taxes by $1,000. Marginal propensity to consume is 60%. That means for every $1 increase in income, 60% will be spent. And one more condition is 10% of government spending leaks. Leaks out of domestic economy due to imports or inefficiencies. See, this is a concept which you have no idea about also. Okay. See, leakages are what actually this word leakage. Okay, government spending leakage. So what is this leakage actually? The word which I've used here. See, savings could reduce spendings. Okay, more taxes by the government on the people can reduce, reduce savings. Okay, of the people or disposable income. So if I have to write something, leakage in the economy refers to any diversion of income or spending away from the circular flow of income, which reduces the potential impact of economic activity on GDP. So example, savings. When households save part of their income instead of spending it, reduces the consumption and limits the demand in the economy. So savings can reduce the demand. And spendings can increase the demand. Okay. So 10% of government spending leakage. Government spending leaks out of domestic economy due to imports. Okay. So so what is happening? 10% of government spending leaks out of domestic economy. That means government is not able to spend in domestic economy. They have to pay more for imports. See, when government buys goods from outside countries, they have to pay more amount rather than a lesser amount what they pay domestically. So 10% of government spending leakages. That means they have what they want to spend in the domestic economy. They have to pay for imports. So now spending by government increases GDP, but only 90% of it remains in economy due to leakages. Okay, because 10% has gone for what? Imports. So I'll write a point here. Spending by the government increases GDP, of course. But here the GDP is not increasing by 100% because 10% what they wanted to spend in the domestic economy, they're not able to spend on domestic economy. So 90% of it remains in the economy. Spending by the government increases GDP, but only 90% of it remains in the economy due to leakage. That means you understood, right? They wanted to spend in domestic economy, but they have to spend for imports. Now we will do some calculation. So effective spending is 90% of this $900. We will see the spending multiplier. See, the government is going to spend $1,000 and increase the taxes by $1,000. Government wants to spend they want to increase the spending by $1,000 and increase the taxes by $1,000. Okay. See, for spending they want money. For that money they are arranging that in form of taxes. So spending multiplier. So spending multiplier is nothing but like increase in the spending, okay, by the government, and how it is going to increase the GDP. 1 minus marginal propensity to consume. These are formulas you need to learn. Out of 1, 60% goes for spending. 2.5 is the spending multiplier. Okay, that means if government spends extra $1, the economy will increase by $2.5, or economy will boom, or GDP will increase by $2.5. So I will write it here. Percentage change in, or change in GDP, not percentage, sorry, change in GDP from spending. Actually, it would have been 2,500 because 1,000 they are spending, right? But there is a leakage here. The government is only able to spend 90% of what they want to spend. They're not able to spend full. If they would have spent $1,000 into the economy, okay, the GDP would have increased by $2,500. But here the GDP is not increasing by $2,500. How much it is increasing? 900 into 2.5. This is the increase in GDP. Now we'll see taxation effect also, and then we'll see net change in GDP, and we'll find out the balanced budget multiplier. Just make a note of this, please. We'll move forward. Now we will see the taxation effect. Okay, tax multiplier. That means with increase in taxes, the GDP is reducing by how much? See, with spending, the GDP increases. With increase in if the government collects taxes, okay, see, for spending $1,000, government is increasing taxes by $1,000. Government wants to collect the $1,000 from the people and wants to spend that money for the spendings what they have like in their list. Am I right? They want to go for current spending, capital spending, whatever it is. They increase the taxes for spending purpose. So they are increasing their spending to manage those increment in the spendings. They are increasing the taxes. Increasing the taxes will reduce the GDP. Government wants to spend one additional dollar. From where will government arrange this money? Either borrowing or from taxes. So here the government is going for taxes. It is increasing the taxes by $1. So $1 increase in taxes they are using for spending. With spending, the demand will increase. The GDP will grow. But with the increase in taxes, GDP will decrease. And we will see the net effect, and we'll try to see whether this is getting balanced or not. I have two examples. One example is this, whereby the multiplier is not equal to 1. One more example, I'll prove you multiplier is equal to 1. Sorry, I have space. Just a second. See, tax is, increasing by $1,000. And increase in taxes reduces disposable income, lowering consumption. Okay. And it also reduces the GDP. Okay. Because the disposable income is lowering here. So yes, it reduces the GDP. So we will understand the tax multiplier here. Tax multiplier, marginal propensity to consume divided by 1 minus marginal propensity to consume. Formula. Okay, so these formulas you need to learn for tax multiplier and the one we discussed. 0.6 by 1 minus 0.6 minus 1.5 you will get. Okay, this is in minus because the GDP will decrease. So I'm writing it here. Okay, the change in GDP from taxes, $1,000 they increase the taxes and GDP will reduce by 1.5 times of that, that is 1,500. Okay, dollars. So with increase in taxes of $1,000, the GDP will decrease by $1,500. With or else if I have to say, if the tax is increasing by $1, the GDP is decreasing by $1.5. Previously in that case, spending multiplier we just discussed, right? So in that case, $1 increase in spending is increasing the GDP by $2.5. $1 increase in spending was increasing the GDP by $2.5. $1 increase in taxes is reducing the GDP by $1.5. Okay, so we'll write it here. $1 spending, GDP increased by $2.5. $1 increase in taxes, GDP decreased by $1.5. Okay, now we'll see the net effect. Net effect on GDP. Change in GDP from spending plus change in GDP from taxes. Change in GDP from spending is 2250 we discussed, minus 1500. 750 net effect of change in GDP. Now we will find out the BBM, balance budget multiplier. Net change in GDP with respect to change in government spending. Okay, two things they did, right? For spending, they increase the taxes. So 750 upon 1000. So 0.75. It was not 1, right? It is less than 1. Okay. So why this balance budget multiplier did not become 1? Because of the leakages. Okay, if let's say the same question we would have taken, okay, and for $1,000 spending, for $1 spending in the for $1 spending in the economy, okay, the GDP was increasing by 2.5 times. Okay, so if there was no leakage, nothing, government was spending the entire money in the economy, so you would have got 2.5 into 2.5 into I'm finding out the spending multiplier. Okay, so spending multiplier 1000. So 2500 it would have been, correct? Yes. So 2500 it would have been, and there it would have been 1500. Change in government, change the tax multiplier, isn't it so? So tax multiplier would have been 1500. So 1500 tax multiplier, 2500 spending multiplier. If the 100% money was spent, not 90%, you can relate it. Okay. So net change in GDP would have been 2500 minus 1500. Okay. So you would have got what? $1,000. Okay. So again, if I want to find out the balance budget multiplier, net change in GDP would have been 1000. And change in government spending would have been 1000. That means government is increasing its spending by 1000, right? Your balance budget multiplier would have been 1. That means they spend $1,000 and the GDP is also, changing by $1,000. That is what the balance budget multiplier says. The balance budget multiplier says $1 if the government is increasing its spending by increasing the taxes by $1. Okay, increase the GDP in such a way that they will get $1 from the GDP. Okay, that means the GDP will also increase by $1. So $1 government has increased in spending. For that they raise taxes by $1, and the impact is they are getting $1 from the GDP. Okay, so let's see the statement here. To balance the budget, the government could increase taxes by $100 to just offset a increase in spending of $100. That means they increase the taxes by $100 and they also spend that $100 into the economy, and they got what? They recovered what they spent. Isn't it so? That is balance budget multiplier. Just a second. So here I would give a statement to you about the balance budget multiplier. Balance budget multiplier. When government increases both spending, you'll underline this, and taxes by the same amount. We took the example here, right? $100 or $1,000 in our example. The net effect, we also saw the net effect in GDP, right? On GDP should equal the spending. It should happen like this. Always that will not happen. I have told you in which case that will not happen. It will not happen only in the case of leakages. That means the government is not spending the entire money what it wanted to. See, is spending $1,000 into the economy. Okay, and they are raising the taxes by $1,000. The net effect in the GDP is how much? $1,000. Am I right? So this net effect in the GDP, okay, is equal to the increase in spending or not? Yes, spending, taxes, GDP. So what did I say? The increase. See, if the government increases the spending and taxes by the same amount, the net effect on the GDP, okay, should equal the increase in spending. That is equaling the increase in spending or not? Yes. Only when the entire amount is spent. If 90% out of this is spent, then what will happen? That will not equal. That's what. Okay. So today we will stop here. We will continue with the explanation tomorrow. Okay. We will just see the textbook example also. And tomorrow is the last day for this chapter. Okay. Thank you.